Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie, and welcome back to another DraftKings DFS slate breakdown. On our agenda this video, we have Premier League Saturday slate 10K up top for the main GPP contest. We haven't had a 10K to first soccer contest in quite some time for like the main large field slate or a contest, I mean, for the slate. And I'm super excited for it. In terms of the games themselves, it is a four-gamer. Liverpool -150, Everton -120, Newcastle -130, then Ipswich +100 as the favorites. So pretty tight matchups across the board here. Should make it super interesting. In terms of projected lineups and likely set pieces, for Newcastle, it should be Gordon and Hall mostly, with Tonali and Guimaraes maybe taking a couple of one-offs. And then for Fulham in this team, it should be a Lukic monopoly. That's pretty crazy to see. If Herrera is in, he's going to be the monopoly guy. But with Harry Wilson out, definitely going to get a monopoly in this game, probably, which is super interesting for DFS purposes. Bournemouth and Liverpool. Bournemouth should be Brooks and Clivert, with Lewis Cook kind of almost full time being at right back. Kind of has lost sets because they do in swingers and he's a righty, and they just don't want him to run all the way over to that side from right back. They just have given it to Clivert. And Brooks has been kind of the left footed option, but Christie can also take as well. Liverpool are just kind of weird. They had UCL midweek, rotated out most of the starters, so not a ton that we can take from that game over what they're going to do with sets. Last weekend, it was like Szoboszlai and Robertson splitting. Alexander Arnold took like nothing. Like Alistair's taken a lot in the past too. So who knows what kind of combo of those kind of four guys they go between Robertson, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Trent. Just really hard to kind of decipher right now for them. Like you can't really play strictly four set pieces with those guys right now. Everton and Leicester, I think it'll probably be Lindstrom monopoly, I guess. But James Garner, they have starting back from injury, and he's taken a lot in the past. It is going to be like his first start under David Moyes, so we have no guarantee kind of what they do there for sets with him. I just feel like Lindstrom's kind of developed into the main guy. Ashley Young could play too, and he's taken. So that's another thing to think about. So a little bit of uncertainty there. But yeah, like I said, Lindstrom's my guess. And then for Leicester, they're another team that just regularly changes. Last game it was an IU monopoly. Before that, it was like El Canus and Christensen splitting. So who really knows? It could be any of those three guys once again. Similarly to Liverpool. If you're going off of just what was the most recent situation? Like I said, IU monopoly, but could really be anything, game to game. Ipswich and Southampton. I think it'll be Leaf Davis and Enciso split. Leaf Davis subbed at halftime. Last game due to illness. I think he'll be fine by now. It's been a week since then. I just don't think it'll really affect him too much. And Enciso took corners off the bench as well. So I just think it'll just be a straight split there, righty lefty. And then for Southampton, interestingly enough, we see their new Brazilian league signing. Wellington projected to start at left wing back. Dibbling also back from injury, they expect. In terms of set pieces, I think it'll be mostly Mateus Fernandez in this lineup. Dibbling maybe takes a couple of one-offs or even splits potentially, but that's not guaranteed or anything. Like Mateus Fernandez is your for sure thing for sets. Manning could end up starting at left wing back too over Wellington, and he'd be more likely to split with Fernandez than Dibbling. So just a couple of things to watch out there. Watch out for their four lineups for them. But Mateus Fernandez is your for sure set piece guy. And everything else kind of changes on who else starts. Prices. 12K Mohamed Salah. He's been so good, but like this is a lot tougher matchup than he has been. Like away at Brentford, home at Ipswich. Like those are great matches for him to score goals, get goal contributions. And I think Bournemouth could be a lot tougher matchup than those, and he's not been priced down at all. Like I have loved Salah in the past, but I just don't think that he's just an auto lock at 12K. He's still very much in play. Don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking a little bit than just clicking without even a second thought at 12K, like I have been. So he's a big decision here. Gakpo, I'm not really thinking about for that much. Like get up to Salah if you're going there in cash at least. Ishak, I could get behind it against Fulham. Just the hottest striker in the league, probably. One bad game against Bournemouth, and then other than that, he's just been on fire for absolute months. He's had like three busts in the past like 20 games or something. Not that crazy, like 15 games or something. So I can always get behind Ishak here. Him or Salah, probably a decision to be made there. Same with Gordon, you can throw into that conversation. Not quite the same ceiling as Ishak, but more of a floor. So yeah, like I can get behind any combo of those three guys or any one. I think it's hard to kind of pick one over the other right now. Like Gordon is your salary relief of the two, but not by a ton. Then Salah's maybe your safest, but just so much more expensive. Other guys, like there's Diaz, I think is once again too much for cash contests. I'm not really thinking too much about the Bournemouth guys. I like them as a little bit of a contrarian option in GPP though. Nunez, if he somehow is starting 6,500, that's not terrible. Jordan Ayew, I like a lot of for 5,800. This could be a cash forward for me. He's puts up solid numbers almost no matter the matchup. And Everton is like one of the best games they've had. Like they're not a team to be scared of. Leicester are probably going to go for it against them. And Ayew should benefit from that a lot. Like he was super solid against Tottenham. He just feels like he just gets a goal contribution. He's like in for 20 points. And otherwise, you're taking 8 for 5,800. Like, that's not a bad return at all. So, yeah, I love Jordan Ayew here. Other guys who I could maybe get behind, there's just really not a ton. Like Bobby Reed, sure, for 4,700. Jack Clark, that's not bad at all for 4,600 if he starts. And then maybe even Southampton guys you can punt, like Adam Armstrong, Cam Archer, Onuachu for dirt cheap. Philogene too. Like I could get behind that for 4,300 as well. He was super solid last game too, even against the Liverpool matchup. So yeah, there's some not bad kind of punt options. Like I don't mind pairing one of those with like one of your payups at all. You can really go any combo. I don't think you can go that wrong. Mid range kind of leave out, I think, in a lot of builds. Once you count IU as mid range, but I think he's pretty cheap too. I'll consider him like a punt. Midfielders, this is not a great midfielder slate. Like there's Shoboshoi. I don't love him here. I know he was really good last game, took that one corner, but he had not much floor other than that. He had 4 shots, 2 shot on goal, which inflated his score quite a bit, plus the goal itself. 7 shots game before that against Brentford, but he's a guy who subs quite a bit. I worry about, and it's hard to get up that much at midfield if you're going to play like your Salahs, your Ishaks, your Gordons. So I don't love kind of paying up at mid too much here. Kind of makes me not love Szoboszlai. And so if he was like 2 or 3K cheap, like if he's 4 or 5K, I'd love that. He's been super solid, I know, but probably get subbed, I imagine. Um, and 7K is just a lot to swallow here. Like if there was an easier way to get to him, sure. But like I said, like Ishak or Salah or Gordon, they're gonna take up a ton of your salary. It just makes it hard to justify 7K on a mid as well. Unless you're going like a Pereira. Like I take a Pereira Monopoly over in CISO. Whenever he plays, he's pretty solid. You worry about the sub. That's the issue with him. I kind of hope he doesn't play just because I don't get baited by that. But I'd be super tempted by Pereira at 6,900. What a note date 6,700. Maybe not cheap enough. Lindstrom I get behind. I'd risk him even with James Garner starting. I think he'll start. I know he was bad against Brighton, but Leicester are 10 times worse of a team. And I'd happily go there for 6K. Mateus Fernandez, this is probably just the mid you just play here. He's been solid for weeks, and he's had tough matchups in that time. He's just been putting up just solid numbers. Ipswich is like the best matchup they've had in a long time, like almost all season. This is a huge bounce or a huge bounce back for them as a team. They've been playing not bad recently. Like since they brought in Juric, they've kind of improved. Like they're only by 1 or 2 goals. They're staying competitive, and because of that, like I'm all in on Mateus Fernandez. That's my favorite play on the slate, probably for price. And then in terms of punt mids, Christie, if there's no Brooks or And if Tavernier isn't starting, like if Tavernier starts, how much was he? 6,100. Tough slate, and I don't think he's probably fully fit yet, so I wouldn't love that. But if neither of Tavernier or Brooks start somehow and you get like a Christie set taking lineup, I get behind that. Growing back Southampton's new signing, if he starts, I don't mind that. Same with Dibbling at they're 4,300. Maybe a little much for Dibbling actually. But there's definitely some cheap mids down here who I'd consider, like Sasa Lukic. If there's no prayer, I'd love that as a play. Should mean set pieces for him. I think Fulham are good enough to stay competitive with Newcastle. I think that'll be a good game on paper. So yeah, I like Lukic a lot for that price. Unless we see Pereira and then kind of whatever on him. Then Bilal Canoes. Didn't even have any sets last game. Still had 18 points. Got that goal, which of course helps a lot. But he still was solid. 3 shots, 1 on target, 4 crosses. And so for 3K as a punt mid, I'd get behind that no matter what the set situation ends up looking like for them. Like there's upside there for that price. Number 10 role, gets a lot of key passes, a lot of shots. He's able to definitely get there regardless of what they do. You take like a 6, 7, 8 for that price for sure. So yeah, I like El Canus there. There's definitely some, cheap mids we can definitely get to. Garner, if you want to take a flyer on, there's no Lindstrom. And like it should be a Garner like set lineup. If we see like I'm trying to think of a lineup that would help it. Like a Jack Harrison or something over Lindstrom should mean Garner sets likely, and then you're kind of in there for 3,300. And that's it. Those are the mids I'm really thinking about. Like I'm kind of just thinking about how I can build around let my pay up forwards or pay up forward, whatever I end up doing there. And there's definitely avenues to do that. Defenders, 8K Alexander Arnold. That is just makes your eyes pop right away. Like that is so much, but he's just so good. Like I can justify getting up there, kind of. I know like you're not a guaranteed set situation. He has so many like red flags against him, tougher matchup. But still, I just kind of want to do it. I want to eat that shot or that price even on him for 8K. He's just so good in terms of upside, in terms of floor, even if he doesn't take. Like if he takes nothing, like this is what his stat line was against Ipswich, taking 0 corners, 5 crosses, key pass, and assist. Sure, if he doesn't get that assist, he probably ends up with like 9, but even if he keep a clean sheet that game, like he could have had the extra 3 points there too. So I'm getting to Alexander Arnold, I think. I don't care if he's 8K. Like the alternatives, like there's Lewis Hall, just doesn't have the same upside there. He'll have a solid floor still, but for 6K, I don't really think that's too worth. I worry about whoever starts at fullback just because they're probably getting subbed one for the other. Robinson, just a tough matchup. I know he's been incredible. Like he's probably the alternative to Alexander Arnold if you're going to try to save that salary. But like I said, like I just love that Alexander Arnold upside. And then there's Leaf Davis. I could play Leaf Davis here seriously. I know he's been very, very meh for a long time, but just like Southampton have a finally have a good match. This is a good matchup for Ipswich too. Like that game should be competitive for both teams. Like it's not gonna be either one parking the bus like it has been for both of these teams, basically. So for 4,600 for set pieces, especially if they play like a 5 back or something, like if they start another center, like if they start who West Burns or something at right wing back or Ben Johnson, both 3 center backs. I think no, West Burns is injured, but if they start Ben Johnson or play with like a right wing back, and Leif Davis has a little bit more ability to push forward, I love that even more. But even in a back 4, like 4,600, I definitely get behind that. Christensen, you can make an argument for too for potential sets. And then I think you're looking at mostly punt D. There's like Justin Walker Peters who are not bad at their prices. Same with Sugawara. Manning too. 4,400 if he starts, I like a lot as well. And then punt D. I want to see how much that Southampton dude is that I've not heard of really. Wellington. Is he even in the player pool is the next question. He is 2,600. You can go crazy on that. I don't mind that at all. Just to punt for sure. And then the other thing is if somehow Leif Davis hasn't gotten over his illness yet, the easy alternative is right here in Connor Townsend. He will just do the same things that Leif Davis does. Left-footed, he'll split with Enciso probably. and just be another wingback or left back set taker, and that would be the ideal situation because he's just 2K cheaper than Leaf Davis. So we'd love that if he starts, but not likely. That's just a just in case scenario. Goalkeepers, as always, it is a absolute crapshoot. Play whoever you want here, and just focus on prioritizing your outfield position slots. In terms of a core, I'm putting Mateus Fernandez. I think you got to get there. And then after that, if we see no Pereira, I'd probably go a Lukic right here. I think I go him over Bilal Canus, but maybe I don't. I'm putting Alexander Arnold. I go that too. I'd be tempted just to go Salah. I think that's my lean at pay up forward right now. But I think instead I will put either Lukic or Bilal Canus. We'll see how I feel on the day and have the course something like this. But might change my mind, which is why, as always, make sure to check out the FSI Discord and website. I think the website's still running. I'm not 100% on that. Linked below. And check us out there. Well, I will have cores after we get all the lineups. But yeah, guys, that'll be it. Good luck, and I'll see you for the next